Hello everyone and welcome to the latest episode of Book Time with Elvis with me, Mark. And I'm coming to you today with a second shelfie for this beautiful but very hot summer's Saturday. So yes, it's a shelf tour, the second one that I have done, and so of course I'm going to follow from this, I guess pretty much the top shelf, down to this second shelf here, and perhaps I'll do one every week until I run out of shelves, so we'll see. So yes, right, looking at this shelf, you can't see it probably that well, so I'll just bring it in quickly so you can have a little look at what's on there before we begin, a kind of teaser. And there we go. I've got to be careful, don't drop it. So there are a few repeats on this shelf, as you'll soon see. So let's start off with the first one here. Oh, tightly packed in there actually. So the first one we've got is The Bad Bohemian by Cecil Parrott. This is a biography of Jaroslav Hašek, who wrote The Good Soldier Švejk. I haven't read this yet. I've dipped in and out of it, but I haven't read it yet from cover to cover, and I certainly plan to do so because I am quite a big fan of Švejk, and that's actually what makes up the next couple of books. So I will just show you a few of the editions I've got. I've got a 2-volume ex-library Czech edition of Švejk, The Good Soldier Švejk, and it's got, of course, the wonderful illustrations by Josef Lada, who is a very famous Czech illustrator, and of course made very famous by his wonderful illustrations of the misadventures of the good soldier Švejk. If you haven't read Švejk and you'd be interested, for example, in Czech literature, then Švejk is definitely a must read. I have 2 copies, I guess an older one and a slightly newer one, of the Penguin editions, which also have at least, I can show them, hang on, I'll show them up like that, illustrations as well from Josef Lada, so they're pretty good. Basically, if you don't know the story, it follows, as I say, the I would have to say misadventures of this man Švejk, who joins the army in the First World War, and he has many hapless encounters and all sorts of adventures. Švejk is kind of a national icon, so he's very interesting, so I would definitely recommend you try him if you want to try something a little bit different. I do have a follow-up to The Good Soldier Švejk, which is The Red Commissar, and these are kind of further adventures as well of it's got a bit of glare on it because they've got the window over there and the white cover doesn't help, but further adventures of Švejk. Perhaps he's slightly modelled on Hašek's own experiences because he did spend time in Russia and got involved with the early days of communism. So there we go. Let me just pop those 2 back in there. The next one is very topical because it is actually also a Czech language version of Jerome K. Jerome's 3 Men in a Boat, and also 3 Men on the Bummel as well, which is in there in Czech, because a lot of people know it's my favourite book. It was given to me by a dear friend who said that maybe one day I would try to read it in Czech, and I think that will be a long time coming. The same with the Švejk books as well. It is quite a difficult language, but it's very nice. It's a nice edition. It's got a nice little map in there of the journey and of the Thames river for the Czech reader. And yeah, so we are currently reading this in a read-along at the moment. I have another copy here, which is in English, an older copy for that. So we're currently reading that. There's about 16 of us now, I think, and we're taking 2 chapters a day. I released a video about the first 2 chapters and what we read, and some background information yesterday. I will probably do another one maybe tomorrow. I'm not going to do it every day, but I just want to highlight some interesting points and things like that. So I know people found chapters 3 and 4 very entertaining. Personally, I do enjoy chapter 3 very much, with the again hapless uncle Podger trying to put up a picture. If you've read that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, moving on. Let me pop that back over there. We have some more Czech books. One is this one, Gargling with Tar by Joachim Topol, and it is a book set in the Soviet invasion of Czechoslovakia in 1968. And the story follows this young orphan, Ilya, and basically it's all about what happens to him during the invasion and how his life's turned upside down and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to be reading a book by Topol next month with Matthew at Nightbird Books, called City Sister Silver, or something like that, which looks very interesting. And looks at life during the communist regime here in Czechoslovakia at the time, now of course the Czech Republic. Joachim Topol is quite a popular contemporary Czech writer, by the way. Okay, moving back in time, I have a copy of Prague Tales by Jan Neruda, and this follows, it's kind of a collection really of stories about life in the Malá area of Prague, and people say it's kind of reminiscent of Dickens. I haven't read all of them, I've read a few of them. Not necessarily the most exciting, but certainly interesting to look at kind of how life was in Neruda's time, kind of towards the in the early middle part, I suppose, of the 19th century. So there you go, Prague Tales by Jan Neruda. Going even further back in time, and this time not Czech, I have a copy of Ovid and the Art of Love, which is a guide to love, I suppose. I'm an old romantic at heart. I've not read it yet. I haven't had it too long. I wanted to get it after reading David Wishart's book on Ovid. I have read Metamorphosis, but I haven't read this one yet, so I look forward to doing that. Okay, the next book I have here is The Essential Tales of Chekhov, which again I have dipped in and out of, but I haven't read from cover to cover. Chekhov, of course, is quite well known, so I won't have to spend too much time talking about that. The next one is this one here, which is Nicola the Outlaw, and it's by Ivan Olbracht, and it follows, it was originally written in Czech. This is an English translation, and Olbracht himself was considered a very important 20th century writer, and this is the tale that follows the kind of Czech, Slovak, I think even also Ukrainian version of Robin Hood. I can give you a bit from the back here. The invulnerable Nicola Shuhai lives a Robin Hood-like existence, and he and his accomplices rob travellers and Jewish merchants. The authorities, failing in their attempts to capture the outlaw, dispatch a new police captain who puts out a reward on Nicola's head and does not care if he is brought in dead or alive. The Jewish community responds with a reward 10 times as large. The results are immediate. three of Nicola's former cohorts band together and attempt to eliminate him. Weaving myth with realism, Nicola the Outlaw is considered Albrecht's masterpiece. And this was given to me by a good friend of mine who I used to work with many years ago, who's from the eastern part of the Czech Republic. Okay, the next one you'll know very well from this channel, at least recent videos, and that of course is Laurent Binet's HHHH. Enough said, I've talked about it a few times, as well as these two books, also by Laurent Binet, which I have yet to read, but I'm really looking forward to reading them when I get the chance. I've talked about them in a couple of recent haul videos, so again, I won't say too much about them here. The next one is Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse 5, which is a fairly new acquisition that I got after being inspired by a group read of it recently I saw people doing. In this particular copy I saw Christina have from Knitting Books Etc, and I wanted it, so I got it, and I really should read it, and when the time comes I certainly will. So again, I can't say much about it because I haven't read it, but also it's very well known, so you probably know everything there is to know about it. The next is a play, and it's by Alan Bennett, and it's The Madness at King George, which I got because the film The Madness at King George is one of my favourite films, and of course it is just the play. So if you haven't seen it, it's well worth seeing. Nigel Hawthorne from the Yes Minister, Yes Prime Minister series is in it, and he of course is fantastic, and it follows the descent into madness of King George III and the barbaric ways in which they tried to, oh excuse me, I've got some dog fur stuck in my beard, in which they tried to cure him. So often the cure is worse than the illness. Okay, coming up next, it's a bit eclectic this shelf, is The Voyage of the Beagle by Charles Darwin, and of course it is just his kind of journals and observations taken on the years he spent on the Beagle, visiting, you know, Galapagos Islands and all sorts of things. I haven't read all of it. Again, I kind of just dipped in and out of it, but you know, it is a nice kind of travel memoir, if you like, or journal. So okay, a few classics coming up here. A book I really enjoy, Lucky Jim by Kingsley Amis, which kind of follows the funny goings on at a British university in the 1950s. So I'm sure again many of you have probably read that. It's quite a popular one. Next is a good spy story, The Riddle of the Sands by Erskine Childers, which is set before the First World War, and it follows two gentlemen who are on a boating holiday, but it's not really a boating holiday. They are actually spying on what the German fleet is doing in the Baltic, and of course there's a lot of kind of spy action in that. I always think it's particularly sad that the author got involved with the revolution in Ireland and the Irish Civil War, and he ended up being one of the kind of political casualties as he was executed by a firing squad during that. So I think that's particularly sad, because who knows what else he may have written. The next one is one you would have seen on Michael K. Vaughan's channel recently, which is The Lost World by Arthur Conan Doyle. So Arthur Conan Doyle, again, one of my absolute favourites. I love this book. I love the character of Professor Challenger. Please go and watch his video if you want to find out more about it. But just a quick summary, it follows a group of people who find themselves basically in a lost world where early humans, cavemen, coexist with dinosaurs, as they've all been cut off in this kind of plateau where time hasn't really moved forward, and the effects of what's been going on outside hasn't come to them, hence this has happened. So it's a fantastic book, really recommend it. Okay, the next I haven't read yet, but I would like to. The Man Who Was Thursday by G.K. Chesterton. So if you've read it, tell me what you thought about it. I'd be very interested, because it's certainly one I really would like to read. Another one of my all-time favourites, The 39 Steps by John Buchan. And of course, it's another classic spy adventure. I think it's the first in the Richard Hannay series, or at least certainly the most popular of the Richard Hannay books. And again, it's a spy story set just before the outbreak of the First World War. And yeah, it's fantastic. The old film as well, the really old black and white film, is great too. And I think it's actually on YouTube because it's so old. Nobody really minds about it. But the book is really short, but really good and well worth your time. Okay, next up we have The Prisoner of Zenda by Anthony Hope, which is a fantastic swashbuckling adventure in this kind of make-believe European country. And it's kind of like an identity swap between two people. One's the ruler of this place and the other is a kind of English traveller who gets involved with the politics of this country. It's very good. And the last one is actually the sequel to The Prisoner of Zenda, which is Rupert of Hentzau, which I have not read yet, so I can't really tell you too much about that. I really love these old Penguin covers as well, actually. I wish I could have more of them. So there we go. Okay, so that's my little shelfie of shelf number 2, and I hope you found something in there that at least was of interest to you. And I thank you very much for watching and wish you all the best. See you soon. Take care. Bye bye.